Hello, everyone. Today we're doing 4-3 elimination. Elimination we're actually going to spend a couple of days on. So today we're doing our first day, and this is elimination using addition and subtraction. I always like to use addition, and I'll get there by just multiplying by the negative. But today we're going to do both. So example 1, use elimination to solve the system. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate a variable. So I'm going to write the equations just as they're given here. You always want them to be in the same order. So in this case, they're both in standard form. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, and I add vertically. So 3x plus 3x is 6x. When I'm adding, I always want to eliminate a variable. So when I look at this, negative 3y plus 3y, that equals 0. So I did eliminate my variable. And 7 plus 9 equals 16. And I made a mistake. I'm sorry, when I copied this. That's not 3x, it's just x. So this is 4x. So I get 4x equals 16. I can then divide by 4, and I get x equals 4. So now, just like when we're doing substitution, I now need to go back in and find out what y is. So I pick one of the equations. I'm going to choose the top one. X minus 3y equals 7. I substitute 4 for x. So it's 4 minus 3y equals 7. I subtract 4 from both sides. I get negative 3y equals 3. Divide by negative 3. And y equals negative 1. So the solution is 4, negative 1. Example 2. The sum of two numbers is 70, and their difference is 24. Find the numbers. So I gave you the let statement, let x equal one number and y equal the other. So the sum is 70, so that means x plus y equals 70. And the difference is 24. So that means x minus y equals 24. So I'm going to add these together because I noticed that when I add y and negative y, that equals 0. So x plus x is 2x. 70 plus 24 is 94. I divide both sides by 2. I get x equals 47. I then need to find y. So I'm going to do x plus y equals 70. And substitute 47 for x. And then subtract 47 from both sides. And y equals 23. So the numbers are 47 and 23. So I want you to pause, and I want you to try 1, 2, and 3, and then come back. Okay, so when I look at number 1, I notice that if I add these together, y and negative y equals 0. So that gives me 2x equals negative 2. Divide by 2, x equals negative 1. I then need to find y, so I choose one of them. So I choose x plus y equals negative 4. It doesn't matter which one you choose. So it's negative 1 plus y equals negative 4. I add 1, and y equals negative 3. So the answer is negative 1, negative 3. Number 2, when I look at it, I notice that 3y and negative 3y, those will equal 0 when I add them. So again, I add, so 2x plus x is 3x. Negative 3y and 3y equals 0. 14 minus 11 equals 3. Divide by 3, x equals 1. I need to find y, so I'm going to use the bottom equation because it's simpler. X plus 3y equals negative 11. I'm going to substitute 1 for x. I'm going to subtract 1. So I get 3y equals negative 12. Divide by 3, and y equals negative 4. So that is the point 1, negative 4. So that means that's where they would cross graphic. When I look at number 3, I see that my x's are opposite. 3x and negative 3x, those are opposites. So when I add, I get negative 3y equals 9. Divide by negative 3, and y equals negative 3. I then need to find x. So it doesn't matter which one I choose. I'm going to choose the top one. 3x minus y equals negative 9. So it's 3x minus negative 3 equals negative 9. Minus minus is a plus. So that's plus 3. So the opposite is minus 3. So 3x equals negative 12. Divide by 3. X equals negative 4. So the answer is negative 3, comma negative 4. Number 4 is a word problem here. So Rima is older than Ken. The difference of their ages is 12, and the sum of their ages is 50. So I know Rima is older than Ken. So I'm going to let Rima equal R, and Ken equals K. So Rima minus Ken equals 12, and Rima plus Ken equals 50. Then I solve. Notice that it's minus K and plus K, so R plus R is 2R, equals 62. Divide by 2, R equals 31. I then need to find Ken. So I'm going to do R minus K equals 12. 31 minus K equals 12. Subtract 31. Negative K equals negative 19. Divide by negative 1. And Ken equals 19. So my answer is Rima is 31. And Ken is 19. So now if I look at example 3, I don't have opposites if I add, but if I look at the y's, I almost have opposites. So what I can do is I can use subtraction. So I'm going to subtract the bottom equation from the top. Now when you're subtracting, you have to subtract everything. So I always like to think about it that I'm going to multiply the bottom one by a negative. So I leave the top one alone. That's 2x minus 3y equals 11. And then I want to subtract. So the 5x becomes minus 5x. The minus 3y becomes a plus 3y. And the 14 becomes a negative 14. Now I go through and I combine my like terms. 2x minus 5x is negative 3x. Negative 3y and 3y, those equal 0. 11 and negative 14 is negative 3. Divide by negative 3. X equals 1. I then need to find y. So I go back to the originals. So it's 2x minus 3y equals 11. So it's 2 times 1 minus 3y equals 11. That's 2 minus 3y equals 11. Subtract 2. Negative 3y equals 9. Divide by negative 3. And y equals negative 3. So my answer is 1, negative 3. So I want you to pause, and I want you to try 5, 6, and 7. And we'll pick up on number 8 in class tomorrow. So do 5, 6, and 7 right now. Pause. Okay, so you can see that what I did first on this first one is I changed the signs on the bottom equation. So that gave me 3x minus y equals negative 2. I then added, which gave me negative 5y equals negative 25, which means y equals 5. I then substitute that into one of the equations. I chose the bottom one, and I got x equals 1. So that means my answer to 5 is 1 comma 5. Number 6. I changed the sign on the top one because it truly doesn't matter as long as I eliminate one of my variables. So negative x and 2x gave me x, 3y and negative 3y is 0, negative 11 plus 16 is 5, so x equals 5. And then substituted into the top one and found y equals negative 2. 7, I changed the sign on the bottom one again, x minus x equals 0. Negative 2y minus y is negative 3y, 6 minus 3 is 3. divide y equals -1. I substituted and found x equals 4. If you have any questions, please bring them to class. We'll pick up on number 8 in class tomorrow morning.